Okay, this is YashaYahu, chapter 9. That's Isaiah chapter 9. And if you were in the first reading, apologize. I had to delete it. Couldn't get through it. Okay. But there is no gloom upon her who is distressed, as when at first he humbled the land of Zebulun. And I thought about that. I said, there's no gloom upon her who has distressed, who is distressed. That's what it means, that there's glory. The esteem of the Father is upon his bride. That's why she's not gloomy, even though she's in distress, right? He humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterwards more heavily oppressed her by the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan in Galil of the nations. In Galil of the nations. That's interesting. So Galilee and Galil, or no, there's a bomb in Gilead. Gilead and Galil are the same field, okay? Or right next to each other. Okay, verse 2. The people who were walking in darkness, have seen a great light. Upon those who delight in the land of the shadow of death. I said that all wrong. Let me start over. Verse 2. The people who were walking in darkness have seen a great light. Upon those who dwelt in the land of the shadow of death. So people are living in the land of death, right? A light has shone. Okay, what light is that? That's when Messiah came to earth. When Yahuwah robed himself in flesh and dwelt among us, right? Because that's what this whole chapter is about. Verse 3. You shall increase the nation. You shall make its joy great. They shall rejoice before you as in the joy of harvest. All men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For you shall break the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his of his oppressor, as in the yom of Midian, like Midian, right? Midian. For every boot of one trampling in turmoil and coat rolled in blood shall be used for burning and fuel of fire. In other words, you know you're not going to fight anymore. So you're just going to roll up your coat and set it on fire, and roll up and stick your boots on a stick and burn the poop and blood off of it. And use the rubber to burn it off, I guess. I don't know. Okay, verse 6. For a child shall be born to us, a son shall be given to us, and the rule is on his shoulder, and his name is called Wonder, comma, Counselor, comma, Strong All. Remember, all means like Almighty. Um Father of continuity. Means he has no beginning, he has no end. That's what we are to call the Messiah. The Father of continuity. Prince of Peace. Verse 7. Of the increase of his rule and peace there is no end. Upon the throne of Daud and over his reign, to establish it and sustain it with right ruling and with righteousness from now on, even forever. The adorer of Yahuwah of hosts does this. So we're looking forward to that part where he reigns forevermore. I mean, we know he's reigning in the supernatural, but we can't wait to be moved to his throne, to his reign, to his kingdom visibly instead of invisibly, right? Where we can see what really is going on. We just can't wait. Verse 8. Yahuwah sent a word against Jacob, and it has fallen on Yisrael, that's Israel. And the people shall know, all of them, Ephraim, and the inhabitation of Shamarion, who say in pride and greatness of heart, the bricks have fallen down, but we rebuild with hewn stones and sycamores, and cut down, but we replace them with cedars. So that's a prideful heart that says God is what God has put down, we will bring back up, okay? Because I've heard preachers to preach that the market, he brought the market down during Bush's presidency because of all of the child trafficking that was already going on. And for Bush to come out there and say, what they have torn down, we shall rebuild, was doing the same thing that all the kings have done, is in defiance of God. When they get rebuked, they just turn around and go, what God has torn down will rebuild. I don't know if that's true or not. That's an opinion of Khan. Can't say his name right now. Jonathan Khan. Chn, I think. So, if that's true, then there's some things that are torn down that Yahuwah doesn't intend to raise back up, not on this world, but in the one to come, right? Verse 11. And Yahuwah set up the avengers. No, adversaries. So Yahuwah has set up the adversaries of Retzin against him, and stirred up his armies, or pardon me, his enemies, the Armenians, before the Philistines, it's Philistine behind. So they were surrounded. The Armenians in front and the Philistines behind. And they devour Yisrael, with an open mouth, with all that this his displeasure has not turned back. With all this, Yahuwah's displeasure, right, has not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. So he's not too happy because he tore it down on purpose. Okay? And the people have not turned back to him who smites them, nor have they sought Yahuwah Sabaoth. Maybe I can remember to tell you something at the end. And Yahuwah cuts off head and tail from Yisrael, palm branch and reed in one yom, in one day. It makes it clear. He's going to cut off Israel in one day. The head and the tail from Israel. Or maybe he's already done it. This is Isaiah chapter 9. Elder and highly respected, he is the head, and the prophet who teaches falsehood, he is the tail. Okay, so now it's saying that the prophet who teaches falsehood is the tail that he's going to cut off. And the elder and highly respected is the head that he's going to cut off. Now this already happened, I'm very sure. For the leaders of this people lead them astray, and those who are guided by them are swallowed up. Therefore, Yahuwah does not rejoice over their young men and has no compassion on their fatherless and widows, for everyone is defiled and evil, and every mouth speaks foolishness. And with all this, his displeasure has not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. For wrongness burns as the fire. It consumes thorn bushes and weeds, and sets the bushes of the forest ablaze, and they roll up like rising smoke. The land shall be burned up by the wrath of Yahuwah Sabaoth, and the people be as fuel for the fire. A man shall not spare his brother, and cut down on the right hand, but shall be hungry, and he devours on the left hand, but shall not be satisfied, each one devouring the flesh of his own arm. It means they're going to cut their own flesh in order to feed themselves. It's terrible. And I mean, I don't even know if cannibalism has already happened or not, but that sounds like cannibalism. Manasseh, Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh, together they are against Yehudah. With all this, his displeasure has not turned back, and his hand is still stretched out. I pray to God that we are in a different chapter than this. But I wanted to read through Isaiah. So here we have been going, right?